Welcome back to Woman Made Well. I actually changed today's podcast topic because of the day I had in clinic yesterday. Yesterday was a fantastic day, lots of moms, lots of fun topics, but one mother in particular, I had met with her probably 4 weeks ago, and she was just full of anxiety about the transition to motherhood, just didn't feel comfortable being a mom, had made the transition to being a stay at home mom from working, didn't feel confident in what she was doing, didn't feel like she was good at it at all. And the follow up was fantastic because she actually was really feeling confident as a mom, and more than just feeling like she was good at it, she was enjoying it. But there was a new problem, as there always is in motherhood, and it was stress over what to do about the upcoming holidays. And so that inspired this topic, which is some tips and tricks and just a way to get through the holidays the best way we can. And so we're going to talk about 4 things today. And my hope is that with this, we'll be able to all enjoy the holidays a little bit more. This is applicable to new moms, pregnant moms, moms with several kids. They're all just some things that I've learned over the way to try to manage the stress and just enjoy your experiences. Another thing that inspired this topic was some scrolling on Instagram this weekend when I got to see a family that I delivered both their children. And it was a cute post of a holiday picture of them together at one of the local Christmas celebration areas in our hometown. And I can't even tell you, I don't even know why I was so moved by it. Maybe because I got to know this couple before they were parents and then got to know them after they were parents to one child and through that transition, and then when they decided to add another child to their family, and then just seeing them years later making memories with their children, it just melted my heart. And that is what I want for all of you, all of my patients, all mothers, to really enjoy this holiday season. So let's dig in. The first of the topics that I want to talk about is probably the most important. And I typically like to lead with tips talking about the most important one last. But in this one, in light of what it is, I think it's important to say it first in case you don't have time to listen to the rest of the podcast. And so this first topic is about time. I think it's so important to recognize that with the holiday season, there is so much to do, so many options, so many things that we can fill our time with. And it's hard to know what is the most important. And I'm here to tell you that the most important thing is the time that you give to your baby, to your child, to your partner, to your family. That is what is irreplaceable. It is not things, it is not fantastic activities, it is actually time where you are spending with them. And this can be just you on the couch watching a Christmas movie, which is one of my favorite things. It can be the family in the car driving to see some holiday lights. It can be hot cocoa nights with marshmallows. I have done and tried to do lots of the crazy, exciting things. Taking my kids to the Polar Express, paid for fancy big light shows that came to our town. But the single most important thing that my kids remember and enjoy most is when we are all just together interacting. And so the overarching thing that I want each of you to remember is that your children, your baby, your partner, what they want this holiday season is quality time with you. Second, I think, especially if you're a new mom, it is super duper stressful to think and feel that pressure of trying to establish family traditions. The holiday season is ripe with family traditions. And as you embark on the new journey of creating a family, you can feel this tremendous pressure that you have to come up with traditions and you have to do them right, and they have to be the best and they have to be perfect. And I know that's how I felt. And the truth is, you don't have to. Traditions will come with time and they'll come naturally. And if I've learned anything, I've learned that my children helped me figure out what our traditions were, because things that I didn't even think were traditions or activities I was starting that I didn't even think were special have become traditions, and they're things that the kids ask for. And if I don't do, they're super sad about. And most of them are the simple things. So what do you do when you're trying to think about that? And maybe you just have a brand new baby. I think it's important to sit down with your partner or husband and think about the traditions that you guys have had in your families. Maybe you had a ton, maybe you didn't have any. But first of all, think about that and make a list of the traditions you had and the traditions they had. And think about those. Are those ones that you guys want to continue? Are there any of those traditions that were super special to you and you want to carry on with your family or continue with your extended family that you have already spent celebrating that tradition? I would keep it short. I would try to keep it to 1 to 3 things that you're trying to start off with. And then from there, I would just think about other things that you always thought would be fun or Christmas activities you thought would be something enjoyable that you hadn't done. And consider adding that as something that you'd like to try this year. In my family, there is a little local park that has a train that puts up Christmas lights every year, and it's super affordable and it's a pretty simple thing. And so we started going to that when probably before even all my children were born. And last year we didn't make it there, and my kids were really sad about it. And what I realized was that the train park had become a family tradition, and you better believe it, we're not going to miss it this year. So again, the overarching thing with traditions is, think about the things from your past that you want to include and add to your traditions as your family. But then don't stress about making perfect traditions this first year. They will come in time. And I could talk about many others that came in time with my family, but it was my children who helped me make those decisions with the activities that we tried that they actually loved so much that they wanted to do that again and again. The next, all of these things are so important, but the next thing we're going to talk about for a second is keep it simple. It is super important to keep the holidays simple, especially when you have young kids and babies. Again, like we've talked about, what's most important is the time and not necessarily all the things that you do. And so as you're looking at the whole month and the activities that you're being asked to and invited to by friends and family, and then the activities that you want to do and those traditions that we just talked about, I would make a whole list of all the potential things that you have to do, that you've been invited to do, and that you want to do. And really look at what you think fits within your ability to keep the holiday under control, to not overstress yourself, and also to enjoy it. So make sure you do the things that matter most to you and potentially drop a few things off the list when you start feeling yourself getting stressed. It is always a bad idea to overbook yourself. I just stopped by a mom who goes to my church group to drop off a gift for their children. And I had missed her because she hadn't been able to make it to our church meeting. And I asked to see how she was doing. And she said, I have had the craziest 4 days of holidays with my family. I haven't spent any yet time at home. It's just been going from house to house. And we all just slept through church. And it was one of those moments you could see how overwhelmed and how much she needed that sleep because of being overbooked. And there is a happy medium, and it's important if we can beforehand really prioritize what we think is going to be the most beneficial to our family, the most beneficial to our soul, the time spent with the people who are closest to us, who we feel the most valued and uplifted by, and really make sure we spend the time doing those things with those people, and potentially don't overbook ourselves with things that potentially aren't as fulfilling, and not with people that are in our inner circle. The last thing is, even with the activities you're doing, keep those simple too. I love gingerbread house decorating, and I have gone through many iterations of how we do it. And one thing that I learned, especially when my kids were young, is I don't need to make it from scratch. I can just buy a kit and we can just have fun doing it that way. The kids enjoy it just as much and it saves me 2 to 3 hours. And so things like that, keep it simple. Don't do more work than you need to, especially when it's not going to make a difference in the memories or the outcome. The last thing, which I think was the most important and what I talked to my patient about most yesterday, and that was having a plan. A lot of the things we've talked about are involved in this, making sure where you're spending your time, keeping things simple. Those are all about parts of making a plan. But I'm even being a little bit more specific about having a plan with the events that you attend. The patient who I talked with yesterday was most concerned about big family events with extended family that didn't necessarily respect her desires and with how she could protect her child from all of the germs and viruses that are going around during these holiday seasons. And with newborn babies, and even, any baby up to a year, there are significant risks with exposure to RSV and the flu. Thank heavens we haven't seen COVID have much severe harmful effects with children, but RSV sends kids to the hospital every year, as does the flu. And so it is really important. And my patient's anxiety about this is totally valid. She didn't want to miss out on the holiday experiences, though, and not attend anything. But she was worried that friends and family would not respect her wishes to not pass her child around like a bag of potato chips, or specifically to kiss her child. And that is a big concern. So in these instances, it's important to have a plan. And that can help with specifically her concerns, but also with any concerns that you have. Some patients are also just concerned because they don't know how they're going to be able to handle their baby out among other people, and it's super stressful. What if their baby starts crying? What if their baby isn't behaving? What if their baby won't feed and they're out with family? Those are big concerns that are real, and so it's important to have a plan for those things. Even if you have older children, it's important to have a plan, because if we overstay our welcome, or if our children aren't fed or they're overtired, it can end up being making such a nice event into something that becomes absolutely traumatic to the mother when our children have meltdowns in front of the rest of the family. And if none of you guys know what I'm talking about, I'm glad for you. I definitely have had my share. So what do I mean plan? First of all, if you're concerned about family situations, make a plan about it. First is have an escape plan. And what I mean by that is have a plan of when you're going to arrive at an event and when you're going to leave, so that you can control how long you're there, and in that be able to meet the needs of you to enjoy the event, but also the needs of your baby. We all know our baby's limits, the time that they can go between naps, or the time they can go between feeds, and your comfort of feeding or letting them nap in a different area. And if you know your limits, you can make a plan. My patient yesterday was super excited about this. She actually really loves the fact that, because she's nursing her baby, that is a reason she can always escape a room and get a few minutes to herself. And since her baby is doing really well napping in his crib at home, that they have a reason to leave when it's time, so that their baby can get that restful sleep in their crib at home. And so have an escape plan so that you can control the time at these events. The next thing is having a plan specifically about any specific anxieties you have. Like my patient, who was very anxious about the risk of exposing her baby to viruses during this season. That can include sending out a text message to the group that will be involved beforehand, saying that their doctor had told them, and I never mind my patients using me as the scapegoat, that their doctor told them that the RSV season and flu season is running rampant, and that they recommended that the baby not be held by anybody, and that they just keep it in a baby carrier, and that please nobody kiss their baby. You can make the recommendation as extreme as you want or as relaxed as you want, But definitely just letting your friends and family know that you have concern because your doctor raised a concern to you and that you're just trying to protect your baby. My patient opted that she wanted to keep her baby in a carrier on her because her son likes that. And that was an easy way for her to keep him from being passed around and to be able to take control of the situation. You can have any variation of that. I have other patients who are fine with the baby being held by others, but just want to make sure that they wash their hands and that there isn't any direct kissing to the baby's faces. So in your text message, you can reach out and express your concerns and also the wishes that you have to protect your child. If you know you're going to an environment where these types of things aren't respected, those are some specifically difficult situations, and you may, first of all, choose not to go, or you may choose to stay less amount of time to avoid the people who do not respect the wishes that you have. The last thing, which is important to think about, is that if there's an event that you really, really enjoy, and you know your limits, you know your children's limits, and you know that this isn't an event that you will enjoy with your baby, with your children, it may be something to consider getting a sitter for so that you can enjoy something in the holiday that's just for you, that isn't maybe as kid friendly. And it's not something to feel guilty about. You can make sure your kids have a fun Christmas movie with popcorn at home so that they have a special experience, but you do too. And so it's super important this time of year to make sure that you spend quality time with your family. And that's the most important thing. Work slowly on establishing traditions. Do not think you have to have them all figured out this year. They will come with time as you and your family try different experiences and realize what really loves you and what really defines your family and brings joy to you guys. Next, keep everything simple. Buy the gingerbread house kit. No need to do anything extravagant. Keep the amount of things you do to the bare minimum so that you're not overbooked and you still have the ability to do things on a whim. And then plan. When you do have an event, plan the time you'll arrive, plan the time you'll leave based around the limits of you and your baby and the needs of you and your baby or your children and your family. And if there's specific concerns, address them before you even come so that you can feel that you have one less level of stress and that the people you're engaging with understand the needs that you have to protect your baby during this busy, fun holiday season. And the last and most important thing always, make sure you're getting enough sleep. This is such a fun time of year. And in order to be our best and to truly enjoy it, we need to get sleep as always. I hope that some of these tips helped. I think I could have talked forever about different experiences that I've had in my family and with my patients. But hopefully a few of these things will help you really enjoy this holiday season. And I hope to talk to you soon. Have a great day.